When you have dreams of achieving greatness, but you grow up in a family of high achievers, where you tend to remain in the shadows, what do you do? For some of us, we may allow ourselves to remain in the shadows, threatened by the Goliath that whispers, "You are not good enough. You'll never amount to anything. You do not matter." But if you are like Tom Brady, instead, you will proclaim in a childhood essay, "I will no longer be known as the little Brady. I will become a household name." The young brother of three superstar older sisters, Tom Brady spent his youngest years traipsing around his sisters' games, watching as they excelled in softball and soccer. Even at this tender age, always their cheerleader, he hated when they lost the game. They were the best athletes in my house. Better athlete than I ever was, he says. "I just loved tagging along, and I was living and dying with every loss they had." Maureen Brady, the oldest, now a nurse and softball coach, was a star softball pitcher who created her own mark on the U.S. Juniors Olympic team when she was just 17. Julie, a teacher, was a standout soccer player who earned a scholarship at St. Mary's as a walk-on. Nancy played basketball and softball during her younger years. She eventually went on to graduate school, and she married a professional athlete. She is often referred to as Tom's twin sister, 3 years older, but sharing the same birthday. Tom McKenzie, Brady's high school coach, noted, "The girls growing up sort of took center stage as to who is the athlete in the family. There was Maureen, Julie, and Nancy. Then there was Tom. And growing up, I'm not sure anybody would have pointed and said, that's going to be the star, the professional athlete, the featured superstar." I don't think Mom and Dad felt Tom was that guy. And I think basically he was in his older sister's shadow. But the kid brother to 3 older accomplished sisters would eventually turn the tables. From the little Brady to 6-time Super Bowl champion. But how did he do it? Shall we start at the beginning? On October 3rd, 1977, little Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. was born to parents Galen Patricia and Thomas Brady Sr. in San Mateo, California. Although his parents introduced all the kids to music and arts, they all naturally gravitated towards sports. Tom became especially enamored with football as he regularly attended San Francisco 49ers games. The quarterback, Joe Montana, became his idol and inspiration. As he got older, Tom played football, basketball, and baseball in high school. By his junior year, he began his football career, where he was chosen to play backup quarterback for the Padres junior varsity team at Junipero Serra High School. While a decent player, Tom never stood out as phenomenal until an injury to the starting quarterback gave Tom the chance to shine. He became the quarterback starter in varsity, and he held the position until graduation. The recruitment process was unique in the 1990s. In order to be noticed by a college coach, Brady created tapes highlighting his skills, and he sent them to coaches of schools he aspired to. In return, Brady received a number of offers. Tom also excelled in baseball as a left-handed batting catcher. His impressive skills resulted in an 18th round draft choice in the 1995 Major League Baseball draft by the Montreal Expos. However, Tom Brady's heart belonged to football. Tom chose to attend the University of Michigan, But far from being the star recruit, he was the Wolverines' third-string quarterback. He was once again having to prove himself. For 2 years, he lived in the shadows of Brian Greasy, who led the team to an undefeated season that ended with a victory in the Rose Bowl in 1997. Tom Brady struggled to get playing time, and this created his intense frustration and anxiety. Goliath once again whispered in his ear, telling him that he would always exist in the shadows, playing second fiddle to others. But instead of giving in to the mutterings of evil that threatened him, Brady dug deep, discovering the David within him, the urgency of persistence, the courage to see it through. Tom recruited the help of sports psychologists as well as the life coach Greg Harden. The two helped Brady to build up his confidence and to maximize his performance on the field. His family support also never wavered. With the help of his family and his support system, Brady continued to take baby steps toward the NFL. He desired to play in the National Football League. By the 1998-1999 season, Tom had become a starter for Michigan. Brady set the record for pass attempts and completions in one season. But at the start of the 99 season, Tom was once again fighting for a starting position, this time against Drew Henson. The two players vacillated between quarters, with Brady starting in the first quarter, Henson starting in the second quarter. Head coach Lloyd Carr would decide who would play in the second half of the game. When the Wolverines played against the powerhouse Wisconsin Badgers, Tom was not playing in the second half. But down by 17 points, Coach Carr decided to put Tom back in the game. Brady battled back furiously, but Wisconsin escaped with a narrow 34-31 win. The following week, Tom engineered a 300-yard passing game. As a result of this performance in these two games, Brady secured his position as starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Tom was named All-Big Ten honorable mention for both seasons, even though he started the season battling the potential shadows of Drew Henson. Once again, he had made a difference. Tom Brady was reaping some rewards. However, Tom still was not making the headlines that drew teams from far and wide to recruit the player to the NFL. Brady was eventually selected by the New England Patriots as the 199th overall pick in the 6th round, playing second fiddle to Drew Bledsoe. He was once again in the shadows. As if history was repeating itself, Bledsoe suffered an injury, but this gave Tom the opportunity to step in. 20 seasons later, we can see now why he is considered the biggest steal in the entire history of the NFL draft. In his first season as a starter, Tom led the New England Patriots to a Super Bowl win with more than 200 regular season wins. He is also the only quarterback to have never had a losing season in 10 plus years as a starter. The Patriots won 17 division titles due to his leadership. Other distinguishments include Brady is the first all-time in playoff wins. Tom has been chosen to 14 Pro Bowls. Tom Brady is first all-time in career passing yards and touchdown. Brady has over 79,000 passing yards and more than 1,000 rushing yards. Tom Brady is first in career season passing yards. He is first in career touchdown passes with 581. Tom is tied for 5th in career passer rating. Tom Brady is first in postseason career completions, first in passing yards, and first in touchdowns. Tom Brady is also the only quarterback named to 2 All all-decade teams in the history of the National Football League, Tom Brady leads the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to Super Bowl 55 with a collective confidence. Once again, he has changed the entire culture of an organization. The David and Goliath story has touched us over time, but could this be the space age Superman?